Welcome back, guys. On this video we're going to take a look at the difference between an area and a volume of any object. Another reason that I found that a lot of students are confused about this kind of stuff of measurement is because they are unable to differentiate between an area and a volume of any object. But on this video we're going to take a look at it. So when we talk about an area of any object, guys, we talk about the outside parts of the object, and I will demonstrate this. What do I mean when I say the outside part? So when we talk about an area of any object, we talk about the outside parts of that kind of an object, But when we talk about the volume, we talk about the inside, the inside parts, of what? Of the object. What do I mean when I say areas, we talk about the outside part? It's because when we need an area, I will use, let me just use this also as an example. Don't focus on the can, focus on the example I'm going to use. So, okay. So an area of an object, guys, now when we talk about it, we talk about what is outside this kind of stuff here, the outside parts of an object, Meanwhile, when we talk about a volume, we talk about the inside part. What do I mean when I say inside part? I mean, if we want to know the volume of this kind of stuff, we talk about how much, let me just say it like this, how much, if we talk about water, how much water can the object carry? If we know how much water can this object carry, that will be our volume, and the water is going inside, which means we talk about how much it can carry. When we talk about a volume, actually we talk about how much this kind of a can carry. Meanwhile, when we talk about an area, we talk about the outside parts. We talk about the outside parts of an area. Let me show you what I mean when I say we talk about the outside part. When we want an area of, for example, for this rectangle, actually an area is what you get. Let me just define it like this. I love it when I define like this. It's what you get, when you multiply two sides of a flat surface. I hope this definition will engrain something in you. So when you multiply, let's say we have, for example, we have this rectangle, if we take two sides of this rectangle and multiply it, what we get is an area of it. But all in all, what I want you to understand about an area, when we talk about it, we talk about the outside parts of it. And when we talk about the volume, we talk about how much can that kind of stuff can carry. For example, this, how many liters is this? It's 500 millimeter, So this is the volume of this can, It can carry 500 millimeter of water or of cafe, So that's the volume. The area is the outside parts of it, And another thing that I want you to understand about the difference between an area and a volume is this one. Is that when we talk about an area, we can find an area of a 1D object, a 2D object, and also for what? For a 3D object. We can find an area of any object. We can find an area of this, we can find an area of this. We can also find an area of a line which is a 1D like this. We can find any area of anything. However, I want you to pay attention to this. When we talk about the volume, we only calculate the volume of what? Of a 3D object only. And you might be wondering why we cannot calculate the volume of this 2D object. This is a 2D object, right? Yes. Why we cannot calculate the volume of this one is because when we talk about the volume, we talk about the outside part. We talk about how much this kind of an object can carry. For example, if I can ask you, how much water can this paper can carry or can hold? it cannot hold anything. It cannot hold any, even if I put this, it cannot hold it, it's coming down. So a 2D object cannot hold anything, and a 1D object cannot hold anything. In other words, it does not have the capacity to carry anything. Hence we cannot find a volume of this kind of a stuff. We cannot find a volume of this kind of a stuff, and we cannot also find a volume of this rectangle that is here. But we can only find a volume of something that can be able to carry something out of it. And I hope by that kind of explanation it's clear to you about that kind of stuff, difference between an area and a volume. So what I want you to take away from this video is that when we talk about an area, we talk about the outside parts, and we can find an area of any object that we like, that we want, a 2D, a 1D, a 3D object. We can find an area of that. However, for a volume, we can only find a volume of a 3D object only. Why? It's because when we talk about the volume, we talk about how much that kind of stuff can carry, how much water, if we talk about water, how much capacity that kind of stuff can be able to carry, So I'm going to end this video here so that I might not confuse you. But however, on my next video, we're going to take a look at how to calculate the area of a 2D object. So make sure you don't miss that kind of video. See you on my next video. Sharp.